So cinewhoops are definitely loud. I own like 6 of them to fit a different requirement or different kind of shot I'm trying to achieve to make up for my piloting skills. What I'm getting at is there are so many design of frames as well as size categories to fit different requirements of pilots and their demands. So today I'm going to look at the Pavo Pico and by extension the O3 Air unit and see how this drone gives you an advantage or the trade-offs that you might make if you decided to add this to your fleet. So the Pavo Pico is a 2-inch pre-built drone by Betafpv, and I purchased the Express LRS version, meaning that the receiver is built into the AIO board itself. Overall, with the battery, it comes to 113 grams, so it's a very light drone. And in terms of portability, it's great. I printed one of these cases which reliably stores a couple of batteries and holds the Pico via a LiPo strap on top. Like comparing to other drones where you need to strap it on the outside, this thing fits in this little case and can go inside the bag. So the batteries that are typically used with this drone is 560 mAh 2S batteries. And that's yet another category of batteries you have to keep track of and need to store properly. And so far I've been experiencing it's been giving me flight time, I got 3 minutes. And I've experienced the flight performance is pretty fantastic indoors. While outdoors, the drone does seem to struggle a little bit with high winds. But in terms of footage, that's not really a big of a concern because gyroflow can just filter these out. But just for a point of comparison, I'm going to compare it against my Foxwhoop 25. Now this drone is a 2.5-inch cinewhoop running 4S batteries. 3 times the weight of the Pavo Pico, has bigger motors and a bigger battery, everything bigger. And this causes their flight characteristics to change a lot. For example, while the Pavo Pico has to make a big movement in order to draw a curve of an arc, the Foxwhoop would glide and follow through with the arc, for it has more power and the inertia because of a bigger size and weight. But bigger everything doesn't necessarily mean better. Because of its high performance and heavy weight, it creates a very screechy, loud sound. And this is where the Pavo Pico would serve much better to be a discreet drone to not bother anyone. To show you, here's a sound test that I did at a bando of different category of drones flying overhead. The 5-inch and the 3.5-inch seem to share about the same amount of loudness, and why the 3.5-inch isn't softer is because it has the propeller guards which acts as an amplifier for the sound of the propellers. While we see the 2.5-inch is slightly softer, but the sound profile is still pretty screechy, while the champion of the least noisiest quad goes to the 2-inch Pavo Pico, coming at a negative 32 dB. That is very soft. Now I want to compare picture quality, namely the GoPro Hero 9 versus the O3 Air unit. And it's so subjective because if you take the GoPro Hero 9 and fly it at a gloomy, overcast day versus the O3 Air unit on a magic hour, the magic hour footage of the O3 Air unit is going to win. And the O3 Air unit footage is pretty impressive in of itself. But if you compare it against GoPro, GoPro is the look that directors and DOPs are going to be going for. The GoPro just gives a better feeling to the footage. The way it handles motion blur as well as the color range that it provides for color grading just feels way better. But we have to remember what we paid for. GoPro is a camera first, and the full price that you pay for a GoPro goes straight into the camera, the research, which is components and all that. While for the O3 Air unit is divided to a video transmitter as well as a pretty good camera. Imagine how much value you're getting out of one of these. But to break it down to real life scenarios, the GoPro would be better if you showed up on a TV commercial set or a narrative piece, while the O3 Air unit is better suited for digital content. For example, drone one takes or filming for events and things like that. Now before we end this video, I'm just going to pit 2 cameras against a night environment and see how it looks like. Now for the O3 Air unit, the fact that the recording device is also the video display doesn't play to its benefit at all. Now when I was flying the O3 Air unit, and initially I set the settings to best practices for the picture, kept the ISO at 800 maximum, it came out a picture that was too dark for me to perceive anything. This settings is not suitable for flying because I'm missing a lot of information. For example, if there's a black spot over there, I don't know if there's a car or a person over there, which can be dangerous when you're flying at night. And if I were to increase the ISO to 3200 or 6400, the picture becomes a noisy mess that I cannot clean, and basically the footage is unusable. So for me, the O3 Air unit for night is a no-go, while for the GoPro is what we've been covering night events with so far. My personal favorite camera is the Runcam Wasp. It performs very good at night compared against a Cadex Nebula Pro or the original DJI Air unit. The Runcam Wasp just shamelessly boosts everything up the ISO 1 million so that I can see everything. And the GoPro can do its job to capture the picture perfectly, and the ISO is kept at 800 so that the noise level is so little minuscule that it can just be swept under the rug. Anyway, I hope you got something useful out of this video. Thanks for watching.